Hello, and thanks for joining GamePoints, our weekly get-together when we discuss last week's news in gaming and just generally bitch about things in general. I am your host, Stephen Brown. You can follow me at CapitalistPig21. Down there in one of the corners is Sean, a resident esports expert. You can follow him at @thedisco_king, and to the cross of him is David. You can follow him at PalShifeStory on Twitter. He has one tweet so far. Go him. You can follow the show at GamePointsPC on Twitter. You can email us at GamePointsPC@gmail.com if you have any questions or want to be part of the show. And you can follow us on Facebook at GamePoints Podcast. Tonight, however, we're going to go ahead and start this off with some breaking news. This just happened about 3 or 4 hours ago. Valve announced they're getting into the VR biz.
Fancy.
Yep. So apparently they're giving out. Is it consoles they're giving out? Or
Well, what it
what?
is
'Cause I read about the VR things, but I don't know if it was a console or not or something.
let me catch up with speed here. Steam is bringing the best games and user-generated content and exciting new destinations. At GDC 2015, Game Developer Conference, it's a yearly, it's kind of like an E3 in San Francisco. We'll be giving demos of the refined Steam controller, new living room devices, and a previously unannounced Steam VR hardware system. So there are no details about it. They're just saying, hey, we're getting to the VR biz. That brings them along with Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus for the Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get some more information on that next week, which is when GDC happens. But as of right now, they're getting to the VR biz.
It's exciting because there's, it's just a name that a bunch of people are going to follow in general. Valve makes nice things.
Well,
Yeah, Steam's really helping the gaming industry along these days. So it's exciting to see them get their hands into different pockets now.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sure they will have some kind of working prototype there. When was the last thing you heard of anything about a Steam machine, though?
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
I mean, there is my sweet Steam machine that I've been playing with.
Yeah.
I don't know what I do with
I
it.
have a Steam machine. It's called a computer.
Exactly. Not only that,
Pretty
but while VR is very cool, I like it. I've gotten a hold of the Rift a couple times myself. I get the feeling it's going to go the way of like 3D did in theaters. Really hot flash in the pants. Everyone's like, oh, God, this is going to revolutionize things. And 3 years later, no one gives a goddamn.
I don't know about that just because the gaming's more like it's a modding community and you can't really do that with movies. So I feel like you're going to get a lot of these developers, AAA, like these undertitles and stuff like that, and a lot of just random ass people really making their own things out of them. And it's going to have a lot more options to it than really a 3D movie would. It's kind of hard to compare the two.
If it's used in the right way, it can take off a lot. I mean, because if you think the games that's been announced for, because I'm just still thinking about Star Citizen, and when that comes out, I'm just going to stop paying attention to the rest of the world because I'm gonna be wearing headphones and an Oculus and just flying spaceships until I need to eat or die.
Well, I believe Elite Dangerous also supports it, if you have gotten a hold of that.
I haven't touched.
Either of you guys play Elite?
I have not. But like I see videos of like people playing Skyrim with the Oculus Rift and like the what's the feet thing the it starts like the Ula or something like the God, I
Ouya.
can't think of the name of it. Ouya,
Ouya.
thank you.
The Android
And
console?
yeah, or no, the walking platform that you can actually like stand in.
Like the Omnipad thing, you can move around.
Yeah,
in.
Oh, that damn thing.
Yeah.
it's got a weird
Anyway,
name.
It's got a
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't
but like
remember.
I see people using these together and like they're playing Skyrim and using like controllers as like their hands and stuff, and I want that in my life.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
you see people playing like Battlefield, and they're walking around with like the little mock rifle, and they're like shooting at stuff. Like it looks pretty cool.
I mean, to be
Super
fair,
immersive, probably expensive to set up.
yeah, it looks like the control thing on Pacific Rim, the big old control panel thing that they walked around
Yeah.
in. It
I
looks
want
like that.
GLaDOS to tell me to play Skyrim.
I'm too lazy to even use my Wii. So I don't even want to. I don't even want any part of that. It looks cool, I'm sure, but I don't want any part of that. But yeah, that was breaking news as of a couple hours ago. So let's go ahead and get right into the rest of the news, starting with The Last Guardian has been uncanceled yet again.
Yeah, I know David's excited about this one.
I don't
I
care.
refuse to not believe.
You want to recap some Last Guardian stuff for people who may be new to this episode?
Yeah,
Last
the thing's
Guardian was
gonna
announced.
die. That's what's gonna happen.
Spoiler alert.
Steven, you
But yeah.
crush the soul sometimes.
The thing is, remember how last week we talked about how the patent expired, but I also kind of, as a throwaway comment toward the end, said, hey, remember though, the person in charge of re-upping the patents is no longer with Sony.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened. It was a clerical error. They refiled. They got the extension. It's coming back. And to recall an interview last year with Polygon, Shuhei Yoshida more or less said, when we cancel a title and it's something we've announced already, we'll say so. So unless you hear it directly from Shuhei Yoshida himself, don't believe any rumor about The Last Guardian being canceled. What you should believe, however, is once again, this game will look nothing like the trailer you just saw there. It's been changed so much. The developers have shifted. It's going to be on PS4 now instead of PS3. It might not even have the same name anymore. The game you saw back in 2009, I think, is not that game anymore. But
there is one thing that stays throughout this crazy development cycle.
What is that?
It's still a Team Ico game.
Yeah. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to have really large environments that are really vast.
It's going to sound great. It's going to be somewhat haunting, most likely, and yeah, it's probably going to suck people in, and I'm going to play it for way too long.
Sorry, at this point, Team Ico is overrated. Once again, I have to point out that Naughty Dog did Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and The Last of Us all in the time that The Last Guardian was announced.
Hey, man.
If you
Some
can't
people need time to create.
You can't be considered a great studio.
They hate us because they ain't us.
What the hell? But speaking of once formerly great studios, Square Enix recently announced that they're going to let people create games off a few dead properties. To me, this kind of sounds like crowdfunding taken to the next logical step. Rather than developer going out and going, hey, I have this idea, give me money to make games for it. You now have publishers going, hey, we have these great ideas, give us money so you can make a game for it.
I love that subtitle, by the way, on on the cast.
The way this is presented, I mean, well, I guess the way you're saying it makes it sound like a horrible thing. But I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago we talked about a developer of another game who wants to open up the reins to a different, I guess, producer. I'm just talking about Condemned. And the fact that guy's willing to let his franchise kind of see some light of day from somebody else besides his brain.
Fair enough. The difference is, though, to me anyways, that is a man who... I can't justify it. You're right.
There's nothing...
You're just hating on Squeenix right now.
You're right. You're absolutely
similar
right.
Concept. They have a system in place for the way they're going to take their votes or however you're going to, distribute the proceeds and everything for it.
Actually, I have that information right here. I'll bring that up
thank you.
when you're done.
But basically, the guy mentioned that, hey, if you guys can figure out a good way to do the Condemned series, I'm willing to pass it off. They're saying, hey, if you guys can figure out a good way to make a new Gex game, then go for it. And obviously, we're still going to publish it for you, so we're going to take the normal cuts in addition to our license fee or whatever they're doing.
And the properties that are up right now are, like you said, Gex, Fear Effect, and as you're seeing right now, Anachronix, which was a fantastic adventure game, by the way. As far as what they're taking, according to the Square Enix Collective page, quote, on the business side, we still take 5% of the net crowd funds raised, assuming the initial target is reached. And we will also distribute the game when it's done. For that, we take the standard distribution fee of 10% net sales revenue. But we also charge a 10% licensing fee for the use of the IP. And obviously, we'll have more involvement in the direction of development because, let's face it, we want to make sure that the game is released and that the game is the game that's promised.
Yeah, and a good thing to take out of this is we've always kind of joked on the show that Square Enix always hates money. They just hate free money, basically. And it's nice to see that they're actually opening up to ideas like this. And it could lead towards other developments that could help the company out because they've always been kind of very narrow-minded when it comes to their game sets. They're very internal and everything, so it's really good to see them kind of branch out.
Of blaming the American developers for the failings of the Japanese side.
Yeah, fuck, their team was terrible. Get over it.
Well, I will go on and on about how they're like, oh, Tomb Raider underperformed when for a rebooted franchise sold a shit ton. And you compare it to all the crap that's been coming out of Japan that's just been bombing. I mean, Final Fantasy All the Bravest, the fucking cell phone game where you just move your finger up and down. Come on.
Yeah. But, freemium games, that's what makes money these days.
It is. David, pitch us a new Fear Effect.
Fear Effect 3, the subtlety's gone. It's just It's just 2D tits. And it's survival horror.
Is that it? Is that do you have like give us the base of it?
Okay, well, did you guys play the Fear Effect games at all?
I really
Yes.
enjoyed them. I mean, they sucked control wise, but I got a kick out of them.
Welcome to survival horrors.
I was gonna say, weren't they just classic tank controls?
Yeah.
If I recall. Yeah,
Oh,
they
it's
just played
been
like
so
the old
long.
Resident Evil games, and it was just a 2D, like, well, I mean, it was filled with innuendo because that's kind of how they pushed like the second game, especially. But it was just kind of a cool little 2D survival horror, and I just really liked that universe because it had that. I don't even know the light. It was near cyberpunk, but not really. I don't know. That's just what it felt like to me, and
It really wanted to be Shadowrun.
Yeah, but I can do that.
No,
I know there's
can do
survival
it.
horror, but done now with new gen technology and a really sweet looking cell shaded game, I can get behind that.
Well, all joking aside, there were plans for a third Fear Effect called Inferno, and you can actually find some old trailers for it. I would have played it. I don't need it. But
I was actually about to bring that up because I thought there was a third one that was in the works that got canned or something.
But we're going to go ahead and move on with Square's weird little crowdfunding to developers rather than the crowd and other crowdfunding funds. Peter Molynuex recently has gotten a lot of heat over the Goddess incident. And recently Tim Schafer came out and had this big old video saying, hey, it was way out of proportion. You shouldn't have hammered him on that. But you know what? Tim Schafer also has a problem of not developing what he's promised. Take a look at Broken Age here, for example, a game that he crowdfunded. He took everyone's money, and then after taking everyone's money, goes, oh, it's going to be 2 parts now, and I'm going to completely not deliver like I promised. I'm going to give you half the game. No, sorry, Tim. That's a bait and switch. You can't do that. To quote Mr. Schafer, in the last few weeks, we've seen some extremely rough treatment of Peter on the internet and the games press. I think it's really unfortunate and unfair. Obviously, things did not go as expected with this game, and because of that, people are making some really nasty accusations about Peter, and I can really relate to that, believe it or not. I do believe it, Tim, because you are just a step down from him. You have horrible business sense and have a habit of promising shit and not delivering. And when you go to crowdfunding, you go to that extra step of not just taking money from publishers, but you're ripping, I don't want to say ripping off fans, but you're ripping off fans. You're taking people who trust you and you're taking their money and not giving them what they paid for. So yeah, they have every right to be pissed off, and you both should have been called on this bullshit significantly sooner than now.
Wait, last I checked, isn't the episodic part of Broken Age like not really a big deal anymore, and people are still kind of happy with it?
Well, because it turned out to be good, but that's not what was promised.
A good game? That's an adventure game?
No, they were promised a single game. Not, I'm going to break this up into 2 separate things and then secure funding for something else later on to bring it out. That's like me going up to you and going, hey, give me money for this book. And you give me money so I can go, okay, here's part 1 of this book. I might get part 2 eventually.
It's also, back when Halo 2 came out, they promised a lot more than they actually came out with. So people like me who are really big into it got pissed off, even though it was considered a huge success. There was shit in that game, like a lot of stuff that was left off that game. That was kind of the start of the downfall for people who love that series like myself. So just because it might not affect you, it probably affected other people, that there was stuff that was promised, not delivered.
And that's the big key. You could still give me something great, but it's not what I ordered. I want what I paid for. And it's just an extra level of fuck you when it's the fans directly giving you money to make this as opposed to like a publisher.
Yeah.
I still like Tim Schafer.
I have no beef against Tim Schafer.
To be fair, I like Double Fine.
I'm not saying Tim Schafer's a bad guy. What I am saying is it's rich that he's saying this when he has the same problems Peter Molynuex has of over-promising and under-delivering. And you're doing your fans wrong when you do the bait and switch crap that both of these people have been notoriously done in the past.
All right. I'm going to just keep bitching about it. I'll allow it.
That's what the show's about, David. We bitch about things.
See,
without bitching, we have no gimmick.
All right.
Much like how I can admit that I was wrong, that I just kind of wanted to go after Square Enix blindly, you have to admit here that you're wrong, that Tim Schafer has done some douchey shit in the past.
But he's got more facial hair than Molynuex.
That's very true. And more hair on top, too. I've met the guy. I've drank with this guy before. That doesn't mean that I can excuse bad things when they say something.
Although,
That's true.
well,
I do
at
trust a
least
man
at
with a
that point,
beard more.
I would at least be down to drink with Tim Schafer, but I wouldn't really drink with Molynuex.
I would. I'll
I don't
let you
think I'd
know
get
why. Because at the end, we'd probably be getting to get a boxing match.
No, that's Ubul.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
That fool actually challenges people to fights.
He mans up, too, dude. Like,
I don't
your
have
movies
time for
suck,
that guy.
Ubul, but I respect you for trying to fight people who say they suck.
Just be careful when you're with Kickstarter. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get something good, like the new Shadowrun Returns expansion coming out. Shadowrun Returns is fantastic if you haven't played it. It's a Kickstarter success story. Smith and Tinker, I believe, are the guys that did it. I can't quite remember. I did bad research. Sorry. But they essentially came out with this Kickstarter. Hey, reboot the old Shadowrun game, kind of like the old Super Nintendo PC one. Plays a lot like it with some XCOM elements thrown in there. Was really goddamn good. They went, okay, you guys like this? We'll do some stretch goals for an expansion called Dragonfall. That came out, was even better in my opinion than Shadowrun Returns. And now they're like, hey, you guys like this? Here's another expansion. We're going to go ahead and crowdfund. Give us $100,000 and we'll make Shadowrun Returns Hong Kong. Well, their goal was $100,000. They got a 1.2 million.
Yeah.
I think it's
That's what happens when you deliver an awesome product. You get way overfunded.
That is exactly what happens when you deliver
Shadowrun's awesome because it put all the like world building tools into it. It's like, hey guys, have the ability to start making your own expansions. Here is basically a dungeon master's guide set in our universe. Play with it, and then there's tons of stuff you can do in Shadowrun. It's ridiculous.
So here's my question about. So when they made a goal and they go over like 1.2 million, that's a lot. What happens to all the extra money? Does the company actually say what they're doing with the extra stuff?
In this case,
with the
they
extra profits?
had stretch goals. Like, for example, one of them was they're going to redesign the Matrix, the way the Matrix works in the game. The Matrix, for people who aren't familiar with Shadowrun, is kind of like the computer world that you hack into. They're redesigning the interface for that because it was kind of rough in Shadowrun Returns, so you're going to get a new presentation of that. But there's extra stretch goals that they're going to put that money toward.
Well, their $1 million thing was actually an additional 4 or 5 hour like campaign piece.
That's good.
It's like a separate little campaign that they're just going to throw on there. Because I remember some of the old stuff that was like, we get this art director joins at this much money, and we get this new soundtrack at this much money, and they did all that kind of stuff. So it's like the base money is just what they need to build the little bit of game they want, and then
it totally sounds like they had it kind of known already that they were going to make close to $1 million with all that set up. Because I don't think they would plan like 4 or 5 hours of story and not do it. It seemed like they already knew what they were getting from it, and just were like, hey, this is our minimum goal. But they knew what they were getting what they were getting back just from earlier success.
Quick interruption before we continue on to the bad Kickstarter story. There is someone in chat named One with a Beard who agrees that people with beards should be trusted.
It's true.
Well, obviously.
But remember, for every good Kickstarter story like Shadowrun Returns, which is awesome, by the way, go buy it if you like a good classic RPG in the Shadowrun universe. Highly recommend it. There are bad stories as well.
Yeah.
Any of you guys heard of the Stomping Lands?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was excited for the Stomping Lands.
You just got excited because there was the term Monster Hunter behind it. It was Monster Hunter-esque, and then you got hard.
Just think about it. Think about all the hype from like DayZ a while ago, and how there's this whole big popularity surge of survival type games that have multiplayer aspects where you're thrown into an area, you got to scrounge for supplies. It's the Minecraft effect, but times a bunch when they stop building things in flipping Java. But then it had dinosaurs. Dude, I want to run from dinosaurs and be hella caveman and build my little shelter and then get attacked by raptors and run away.
Well, so would a lot of people who paid money for this, but it ain't never going to happen. To the point to where Stomping Grounds a couple months ago was actually pulled off of Steam because of lack of updates. For the most part, the project seemed abandoned. Then the owner the lead guy who was doing it came out and said, hey, no, we're still here. Here's the latest build. They got put back on Steam. Well, all communication has gone from him again. No one's heard or seen from him in months, to the point to where like the last man that was actually working on the game has straight up said, I'm done. I'm taking a job somewhere else. I haven't heard anything from this guy in a month, and I haven't even been paid. Not only that, but I have to pay out someone else who was working for me on this out of my own wallet. So once again, every good Kickstarter story, there's a bad one. Watch who you support on Kickstarter, because not even the name means much. Look at Peter Molyneux. It's a shame.
Oh, burn.
I like the idea. Just wait until the fucking game comes out.
Unless you're a bunch of people paying money for macaroni and cheese that you're not going to eat.
And don't pre-order anything.
No.
Did you not
I
hear
have to go back to that. What?
You don't know about the mac and cheese
No.
Kickstarter that happened?
No.
It was like a Reddit joke. This guy made mac and cheese, and he's like,
Oh,
you know what?
I
I'm
thought
hungry.
this was like potato salad.
Oh, no, that's what it was. Potato
That's a
salad,
different
not mac
thing.
and cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're stupid. I thought because I was confused for a second
Whatever.
too.
Yeah, he
Someone
got like
was
10
hungry.
grand for a potato salad Kickstarter about how I'm going to
And they
make this
just want
potato
a
salad and eat it.
It was way more
And
than
he got-
that, dude.
And he got stretch goals. Now he's having a potato salad concert or whatever.
Yeah, he's actually having a benefit concert. All the proceeds go to like charity and everything like that. So that actually is kind of a like good story at the end because he raised all this money and then donated it back to like the community and stuff.
Kickstarter is the fucking Wild West where anything goes on and no one knows what the hell's going on. So just stay off of it if you value your
Nah,
money.
dude. Fuck that.
Well,
Go to there and just look stuff up because some of that shit's
Just-
hilarious.
If it's like $10 or whatever, you just like throw $10 at something. Like maybe in a year when you totally forgot about it, it's like, oh, dude, that thing I paid $10 for.
Totally blew up in my face.
Why would I pay $10 for something when I can buy a U-Haul or whatever? Fuck it, I don't even care anymore.
You can get out of here.
Moving on, because I don't trust Kickstarter. The end. Moving
It's
on.
funny because he's mad.
I am. I get very flustered when I'm upset because I want to just go off harder on this, but there's just no point to it. It's a losing
All right.
battle.
You do you.
You said hard.
TwitchCon. Who cares about TwitchCon?
Yo.
Dude, TwitchCon.
So
Wheat.
TwitchCon
Something
was
about
announced, and we are available, Twitch, and our price
Oh, yeah.
is low. We will show up to your convention and stream live for a very, 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 very low price. In fact, if
I'll do it
you
with my
feed
shirt
me
off.
and pay for me to get there, and I live less than 10 miles away from your offices, so it wouldn't even be that much, I will show up and do 15 minutes of live stream for you at TwitchCon.
Yeah, I'm a little bit
All I ask
further,
is
so you
for a
have to fly
sandwich.
me in. First class, I refuse to go anything lower.
I'll
But
do
yes,
it. I'll do it with my
TwitchCon's
shirt
a
off.
thing. It's coming September
Yeah.
25th to 26th, 2015 at the Moscow West San Francisco Center. I really have nothing to say about it other than it's coming.
What exactly is it going to be showing off? Is there any kind of vendors showing up to this? Or are they going to be releasing any information on certain things? Is there any
From
kind of
what I
information out of
understand,
this?
is it's going to be like a who's who of Twitch showing up and having like broadcaster booths, so people could go and get in touch with like their favorite Twitch people, I guess. Or
But if
So
they're,
all
if
the
they're
major
broadcasting
donators-
live and their fans are showing up to meet them live, who the fuck is watching them?
foreign people,
Yeah, like foreigners.
people
So
that
it's
live
like,
on the other coast.
So people like DJ Wheat are probably going to like DJ Wheat's probably most likely going to be there. Sooner and Cadbury
in
were
fact,
original Twitch people.
Marcus Graham, known as DJ Wheat, is the one who announced that TwitchCon was coming.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's probably doing it. I think.
Yeah, I would imagine
I think.
so.
Wait, I think I'm willing to go on record.
Yeah.
Games Point is calling that he's going to be.
Did you? Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Once again, Twitch, we have a price, and it's low. So if you want to
Super
invite
low.
us, we will show up. We will do a 15-minute live stream. All you have to do is give me a sandwich.
We do the weird stuff.
We do the weird stuff.
I would ridicule this, but you know what? YouTube had something very similar recently. They had like a YouTube con where a bunch of people showed up, and that thing sold out in minutes. So
Yeah, why
there's
not?
demand for this.
Twitch is growing like crazy, man.
Well, it's
How
why
many
I'm on
concurrent Twitch people or viewers are there all the time?
I'm almost positive they will get high-end esports players there too, because they do have some contracts with Twitch. So I'm sure in the upcoming months, if you're in the San Francisco area and you want to meet some LoL players, some of them will probably show up because they like I said, they do have long-lasting contracts with Twitch, and they usually do tend to show up at their booths and vendors like that when they do go to cons and everything. And a lot of them live kind of in the area, so I'm going to go out on a branch and say that there's probably going to be some major esports players there too.
Well, when it gets closer to September, we'll have some more dates and pricing. As of right now, the one thing we know are the dates and the location.
It
Anything
exists.
scheduled or it exists. That's all we know about it right now.
Yeah, because last time Twitch had like a thing like this, like a kind of a major thing, fucking CJ Frost showed up from Korea, and Mad Life is one of the most famous players in the world when it comes to League of Legends, and they just flew him in there. So they do have the money to back up and get some of these higher known players too. So I'm expecting that there'll be some quality people there.
Well, it'll be
That place
interesting
is
to
going
see
to be
what
crawling
happens.
with internet fame, is what I think we figured
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Tons of
I'm
internet
hoping for a
fame.
ball pit myself.
A ball pit.
You guys
can-
don't. Okay.
I can dig it.
There was this con up, and you know what? It's not important. What is important, however, is the fact that you can't find amiibos anywhere.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
true.
A Western U.S. port strike essentially has caused all amiibos and new 3DS XLs to have some massive shortages on the West Coast, to the point where they're actually flying them in from other nations. This is also causing havoc with things like Warhammer 40k stuff and Games Workshop stuff, which I thought was interesting.
Also, security products and video cameras and lots of stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of... It's a clusterfuck for something that was already in high demand to be, now we're not only just not intentionally shorting it, but we have legitimate problems. Expect to find like $150 messes for amiibos on there.
Dude, people haven't been this
Yeah.
mad about something since there was 500,000 PS2s.
I work in
pretty
an
sure.
electronics store, and like we had the new 3DS on launch day, and haven't seen them since. And we didn't even have that many. And we had like a few of the there are amiibos that were just released too for Smash, which like there were people lining up in front of my store for that shit. And yeah, we have none anymore. Like we got the first shipment in, and that was it. We have none coming in anytime soon either.
I still don't get the crave behind it, but I also didn't get Beanie Babies or Pokemon or Tamagotchi.
Well, like
It's
the Smash
Skylanders with better
amiibo,
brains.
like you kind of have to have to stronger characters apparently.
Well,
So it's kind of a big deal in the fighting scene actually. Which
I
yeah,
guess.
actually, yeah.
I didn't know that.
hmm
But yeah, amiibos, can't find them. Yay.
It's just it's a video game tool mixed with an actual toy, so that's like the go-to. Like, who doesn't want that?
You know, I'm actually loath to talk about amiibos and Skylanders and all that crap because I worked at a GameStop for a hot minute, and these things were the bane of my existence. They took up a shit ton of shelf space, and you would have the same punk kid calling every 30 minutes asking, "Do you guys have the Elliot Ness one in there?" And of course, I would respond, "Elliot Ness is a fucking character from Dick Tracy, you jackass," knowing full well that he was actually in Unforgiven.
You're a super nice guy, and that's why everybody likes you.
Don't write, by the way. I know Elliot Ness is in The Untouchables. It's a joke.
So's your face. Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, amiibos, I don't get it. Apparently, a lot of people love them. You can find some of the rarer ones on eBay for literally hundreds of dollars. So be that jackass and buy them and put them up there. Capitalism, huh?
Dude. Wait, let's get a 3D printer.
Oh,
Can I
We
get
already
amiibos?
pissed off Nintendo once. We can do it
Yeah.
again.
that could just be our new gig, just pissing off Nintendo and now Games Workshop by making models with a 3D printer.
Yeah, pissing off Games Workshop's like shooting fish in a barrel.
It's pretty easy.
More bad news.
StarCraft.
More bad news coming up in the gaming industry out of Japan. Tri-Ace is gone. Tri-Ace are the makers of Star Ocean, Valkyrie Profile. They got bought up by a Japanese mobile game studio called Napro. They're focusing them completely on mobile games now, which really sucks because I hate mobile games.
Let me ask you a question real
depressing.
quick. Is Star Ocean the longest game in RPG history?
Absolutely not.
Okay, because that game is like what 80 hours of game time or something.
Yeah, it's long. You can put a lot of time into it, but to put things in perspective, I took like 117 to finish one playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition, from top to bottom.
Yeah. Well, isn't Star Ocean more of a linear game though than Dragon Age would be? I could be incorrect, I'm asking.
Well, here's the thing about
More or
Tri-Ace
less.
games. Tri-Ace games will usually have, here is the plot, and then at the very end, they go, okay, now, do you want to spend 100 hours grinding so you can fight the final super hard boss? And that's usually how they do that.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that
And-
anymore.
No, I don't either.
I was really about those games.
Ain't
when I
nobody
was
got
younger.
time
Like,
for that.
Star Ocean Till the End of
Well, that-
Time was my jam when that game came out. I played the hell out of that, but
Yeah,
now
Star Ocean 2 was mine, too.
I couldn't even.
But
The
sadly...
Valkyrie games are great.
Yeah, sadly, Tri-Ace is gone. They got bought up by a mobile company. Now, mobile games, you hear mobile game, you think like the horror Dungeon Keeper mobile game or Clash of Clans or what's the one with Kate Upton prancing around? wearing
Oh,
almost nothing?
something war.
It's fire.
Tits of
What?
fire.
Yeah, something
pretty
along
sure
those
that's
lines.
it.
In Japan, it's a completely different beast. Whereas you'll be like I live in San Francisco, so I take the train every now and then, and you'll see people busting out a Vita or a 3DS and playing games. In Japan, everyone is doing that, but it's on their phone. Mobile games
Yeah.
are huge in Japan, so I can see that over there it might make a lot of sense. But in America, we hear that and we go, "Well, son of a bitch." It's
Dude,
unfortunate.
They make a lot of
Starbucks
money.
till the end of your wallet.
No, they do make a lot of money. I can go on for a whole hour about my stance on freemium games to begin with, though. So we're not going to go into that. What we are going to go touch on, though, is I still have no fucking clue what Phantom Dust is.
Who's it you go with?
There's one thing we do know about Phantom Dust.
Was that?
Their studio closed,
Yes, their studio did close.
which is a really weird decision when you're making a game to just close.
Well,
I don't know why.
The studio in question, Darkside's Game Studios, they didn't really do anything on their own. They did a bunch of help on titles, like they did the multiplayer to Spec Ops: The Line. Fantastic game, by the way, for the single
Brief
player.
aside, that game was phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They worked on XCOM, Enemy Unknown a little bit. They were always like a freelance, hey, we need help finishing this up studio, but they never published anything on their own until now with this Phantom Dust game, which itself is a remake of an old Xbox game and apparently has a cult following. I never played it. I never got into it. But it had its following, and they closed, but Microsoft is still keen on producing it. Phil Spencer, who's one of the big gurus at Microsoft, tweeted out, "You'd obviously like the first studio for a project to work out. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Still committed to Phantom Dust." So while Darkside Game Studios doesn't exist anymore, Phantom Dust is still coming. And to reiterate, I still have no fucking idea what Phantom Dust is. At all. I don't know if
So
it's a
the
fighting
question
game.
is-
I don't know if it's a card game. I don't know if it's a Zelda knockoff.
Is it? No. My question is: are they going to move it in house, or are they just looking for another developer? Or do you have any idea?
no idea what fucking Phantom Dust is.
Okay. All right. So,
I actually tried
if
to
you would
look
like
this
to
shit
know
up,
more
too.
about Phantom Dust, I can refer you to Google. Google is a website that you can go on your computer. You can
Google's
put in
friend of
Phantom
the show.
Dust, and then you will suddenly know more about it than Steven.
Like, I did legitimately try to research this for like 10 minutes just to kind of go, okay, what the fuck is Phantom Dust? And the one thing I got was a bunch of very clear Japanese art style people fighting in a ruined city. And that's all I could find on it. So
it's
all right.
a lot of RPGs based in.
It could be. It could play like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta for all I know. I know fucking nothing about Phantom Dust.
Bayonetta, Angel May Cry.
No, I get it.
Ah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Hey, I like both of those though. I don't know about Phantom Dust because I know nothing about it.
Yeah, we figured that out, bro.
Have I beaten that horse dead yet?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Moving on to the next horse. Consoles aren't dead. Stop saying it.
But I want to.
A
They're
research
budget
group
PCs for gamers.
A research group called Strategy and research group called Strategy Analytics predicted Sony will move 80 million consoles compared to Microsoft's 56 million over the next few years. Essentially saying that the roles are reversed between the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One when you compare them to the 360 and the PlayStation 3, whereas the Xbox 360 had the momentum. One thing about this chart that you're seeing right here, this is the install base. A couple things to take note is the Wii U actually had a massive install base and dropped way off real quick, which makes sense. It was a flash in a pan. But another thing to know is the PlayStation 2 still has a pretty good install base and is tied right now for the Wii U, meaning the Wii U's install base is equal to a console that came out, I want to say, in 2001. So the Wii U is in as many homes now as the PlayStation 2 is, which is a 14-year-old console that people have gotten rid of right now.
Wait.
That's
I
phenomenal.
look to my left. I see a PS2, but I don't see a Wii U. I'm one of those guys.
That has a PS2, but not
To be
a Wii U.
fair, most people's
I'm-
PS2s still work and their PS3s don't.
That's
If
true.
you have the original one.
But yeah, the whole point of this is, I mean, the point of that study wasn't to say, hey, PS4 is going to outsell Xbox One in 2018, because they're both selling, it is, but they're both selling very, very well. The point of the study is to go, consoles aren't dead. About 6-7 years ago, people would say, oh, PC gaming's dead, it's not coming back, and now it's huge. Look at League of Legends alone and Minecraft. Console gaming's kind of been suffering the same thing lately, to where people are like, "Oh my god, console gaming, it's so passé. I'm going to go get a Steam machine and a computer." And don't get me wrong, I'm a PC master race kind of guy. If it's on PC, I'm going to play it over a console version of it any day of the week. But consoles aren't dead. By a long shot.
That's what I was saying earlier. They're kind of like budget PCs for gamers now. Like if you do nothing on a PC, like actual programming or work on it, and you just want to play games, there's a lot of people that still want to only spend like $400 on a high-end like graphical machine, and that's what a console is now. It's a graphics card with drivers.
And I'm sure Troll Emoji in chat agrees. You're a bro for watching. Thanks, Troll Emoji.
Are you drinking wine out of a bottle?
No, I drink my wine out of cups.
Oh.
like solo cups?
This, my friend, is Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout.
Okay.
It's good motherfucking port.
Dude, we already talked about ports. That was earlier.
Ha!
I apologize
Segue.
to everybody who's watching.
David, you wanted to say something before I move on?
What about PlayStation and Xbox? Not really.
What about?
I mean, it's something you can throw at your kids, basically. So it's always gonna have a market for consoles, just because if there are parents that want to buy something for your kids, they're not going to buy or build them this crazy computer so they can play whatever the new game is. If their friend Timmy down the street has an Xbox, then if they bitch enough, they might get an Xbox and then they can play Call of Duty with their friends. I mean, it's gonna be a thing that's gonna happen for a while.
There's a simplicity and factor involved too. PC gaming is a bitch to operate, especially if you don't know what you're doing. There's something to be said about hooking in a box to your TV and then going, "I want to play Halo, so I'm going to put in the Halo disc." And that's all you need to do. Whereas on PC, you have to update Windows, you have to update your drivers, you have to update the game, you have to make sure everything works. If one thing goes wrong in the chain, the whole thing's fucked.
I hate drivers. I get that. I understand what you're saying.
So there's definitely something to be said about simplicity.
It's all to keep up with if you don't use a PC every day like us, like we do, obviously.
Right.
There's a lot of people that actually still don't know how to use computers properly, so it's the convenience factor. Like I have a PS4 and I PC game as well. It's just nice to have stuff.
Shit, I barely know how to operate the PC.
Dude, it took me 20 minutes to figure out how to get on this call with you guys. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's true. That actually happened.
Moving on, because this well is running dry. And last week, NIS did their big press event. They do one in San Francisco. Full disclosure out the gate, I was invited to it. I was there. They fed us food. They gave us an open bar. So just keep that in mind with anything I'm going to tell you. I'm not.
Full disclosure?
In the interest of ethics, I'm just letting you know that they fed and gave me drinks, a lot of drinks.
This guy's a dick.
But at the NIS press event, they essentially revealed a bunch of localizations, one of them, of course, being Disgaea 5. Everyone knew it was coming, but now we kind of have a timetable. It's going to be coming out in the fall for North America. I'm hearing second week of October, but they wouldn't confirm that. But they kind of gave me a wink and a nod.
Oh, Steven's got a guy.
Were they touching part of you when they did that? Because that's a different thing.
No. No, they wasn't.
Okay, is anyone really excited about this?
I want to be excited about Disgaea, but I never am.
I'm sure there's a lot of people excited for it.
No, I played every one of them, and I get a hold of it, and I go, "All right, it's motherfucking Disgaea," and I sit down and I play it, and I'm like, oh, "Okay, this is Disgaea."
Dude,
I've never gotten to the series, man. I couldn't get into it.
It's silly. The numbers are insanely high. You're evil. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics was an awesome game, and since we don't get too many tactic-style games anymore, Disgaea kind of has that whole gauntlet. And it's got a funny art style.
Are you going somewhere with that, David?
I really like Disgaea. I think Disgaea is an awesome game. And as a genre, I feel like we need more tactics-based games.
Well, there's definitely a hole to be filled, right?
Heyo.
But Disgaea doesn't fill that hole for me. Like I said, I appreciate it for what it is. I know it has a rabid fan base, but it's just not my bag. I know I'll buy it. I know I'll be excited to play it, and I know that an hour into it, I'll be like, okay, I'm done with this.
Where's my Vandal Hearts 2?
Vandal Hearts 2 exists.
Where's my Vandal Hearts 3?
No, that does not exist.
There you
However,
go. That's what I meant to say.
At this press event, a couple other more titles. Nothing new was announced, but things were confirmed to be brought over to America. One of them, of course, being Danganronpa Ultimate Despair Girl. Danganronpa is visual novel for the Vita, very popular. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. This is an action-based take on that same universe with the evil psychotic bear running around killing a bunch of people. And then something else called that will be released that's coming over to America, released on Vita in Japan back in 2014. So we have the U.S. version of that coming. And then something called...
Looking at that, it screams like Persona to me. Not to cut you off, but that's like...
Danganronpa?
Yeah, I definitely get the Persona vibe from it.
It's modern day, and it's a bunch of school kids. So
yeah,
that right there.
I said.
But
Yeah.
it's it plays more like a Professor Layton.
Oh, weird.
It's story driven. It's a visual novel.
Okay.
Have you ever played 999 or Virtue's Last Reward on the 3DS?
I know those things you're saying.
Okay.
I just play Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's like a Professor Layton or a Phoenix Wright.
Okay. I
like those games. I'm down.
Another game that was announced for being coming over to North America was something called Verdea, the Sky Soldier. Got a lot of applause when I was there, so a lot of people are looking forward to it. I haven't even heard of it until that night, but that's coming out to the 3DS and Wii U in America as well. All these were games previously announced for release in Japan, but no official confirmation for a U.S. release. They're apparently coming. One thing that is also coming that I'm actually excited for is Axiom Verge.
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys
dude.
seen anything on Axiom Verge?
It's a sweet-looking Metroidvania.
Yes, it is. I am
I love
extremely
2D
excited for
scrollers.
Axiom Verge.
Dude, and it just looks like a gritty new Contra to me, like but 2D and proper looking. Like
I'm reminded of the old original Metroid myself. It has that same 8-bit art style to it. I believe it's one game that's done the entire thing. One guy, I should say, not one game.
Like one guy programmed the whole thing?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's literally just been one dude plunking away at it. I was hoping it would be free on PlayStation Plus, but considering it's coming out on March 31st and not like the week after that, I doubt it's going to be. But I'll be picking it up. It's going to be $20 when it comes out. I am super excited for it. I love myself a Metroidvania, and it's just been far, far too long since we've had one.
I like the fact that
concepts in it.
Yeah, I really like the fact that people are doing like this old style like retro gaming now, like the independent parties and stuff like that. It's nice to see these games kind of coming back into favor because platformers are awesome.
I'm more excited for Axiom Verge and Ronin than I am more AAA titles this year.
Ronin looks phenomenal. The more I watch that game, the more I want to buy that game.
Devolver Digital's on top of it. They have
some excellent
shit coming out.
Axiom Rose?
You want to talk about some Axl Rose? I got some Axl Rose for you.
No, Axiom Verge, sorry. No, because
Axiom Verge.
One of the things that you might have caught from the end of the trailer is it gets all glitchy, and that's actually one of the things that's kind of built into the game, which to me is really cool because it's almost like an homage to some of the old cheese and hacks from the older
you're in
style
a computer, so a couple weapons are actually using hacks to change the lines of code in the game.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I like stuff like that. It's a cool concept. It looks nice. I'll play it.
You know, something else that's gone retro these days is those old rock bands.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, man.
Remember when that was the rage and that's all anyone did? You go to a party with your friends?
Instruments that are now like $1 each at any game store. Well, Rock
None
Band's
of the
coming
drums
back.
work.
Yeah, so Rock Band's awesome because it gets a whole bunch of drunken adults together to play fake instruments really loudly.
Dude.
To kick-ass tunes.
According to a Bloomberg.com report, Harmonix Music Systems Incorporated, aka the makers of Rock Band, are creating a new game with the latest generation of consoles, such as Sony Corp's PlayStation 4 and Microsoft Corp's Xbox One, said a source who asked not to be named because the matter is private. Essentially, next-gen Rock Band is coming. No idea if they're going to bring back the instruments. You kind of have to, and you'll probably have to buy new ones. But is it time for a new Rock Band? Do we care enough to play one?
Has it been long enough?
Time.
Well, because if you think about it, Rock Band and the Guitar Hero franchise had this huge wave for the whole rhythm gaming fad. I mean, honestly, it was kind of fad at this point.
It peaked in 2008, and it took 18% market share when it was originally 1%. That means 20% of the market was dominated. 20% of what was being sold were fucking rhythm games between Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And then, not a year later, less than 1%.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, like they released the last song packs because I remember that thing from Rock Band is they would release songs every week, and tons of songs, and then they finally stopped. And I remember hearing, a month or two ago, that they decided to start releasing new tracks for Rock Band, and it's like that's a super weird decision at this point.
It's not that they decided to start releasing new ones; they just had like a random one-off of what was it? Red Hot Chili Peppers had some stuff come out or something.
No, I think they did it a couple times.
Did they?
Like they released a few different tracks, and they just kind of busted out, and it was like some newer music. and it was just a really weird thing. It's like, hey, you guys remember us from however long ago?
It could have been a trial balloon to see what happens.
We're back, baby.
It was them just like testing the market. Like, hey, if we released anything Rock Band related, would somebody buy it? And I guess somebody did. Because I'll probably do it. It was probably me.
Well, here's what killed Rock Band. They released one every 3 months, and they went, "Here's your new Rock Band, and here are all of your new instruments for it. Go buy $200 worth of shit every quarter."
Yeah, that's why I like Rocksmith, because all I need is my own guitar.
They went full Activision. It's rough.
They went Sean Penn on us.
Yeah, they went full retard. But yeah, I'm down. I can get behind that. I mean,
okay, you can get behind it. Do you think America is ready for a new Rock Band? Do you think that there's a market for it?
It could time.
It's been long enough, because if you think it's been 7 years since that was at the height of its popularity, so you have a whole new group of people that are at that age bracket where it's, hey, we just got our first apartment, we're gonna invite people over. What are we gonna do? We're gonna.
It's the Disney Volt theory. Release Pocahontas every 7 years type of thing.
Yeah, why not? More surprising.
I feel like it's.
Go ahead.
It's Activision, right? That does it, or is it EA? Which one?
EA does Rock Band. Activision does Guitar Hero.
Okay,
Correct.
So I know, like, the head of the EA is like sitting in a dark room with like the single lamp on his desk on, with like a glass of whiskey and a cigar, and he's just like, "It's time." And then hits like the rock band button, and then like commercials get released and shit.
You know what's more surprising to me than a new Rock Band possibly come out in 2015 is that you mentioned earlier, David. It's been fucking 7 years since 2008.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah, man.
The hell.
Congratulations, everybody! You're old.
Yeah.
I made myself sad.
No, I don't need a new Rock Band. We don't need a new Rock Band. What we do need are some new releases, however, in this dry season. Coming up this week, tomorrow actually, is the first in the multi-episode Resident Evil Revelations 2 on all consoles, Xbox One, PS4, PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and Vita.
I do need to cut you off there, because you said all consoles, which is incorrect, because it's being released on everything but what Revelations was released on.
That's right. It's not coming out to 3DS.
And that was Revelations was originally a 3DS game that was then later ported.
You are absolutely right on that, and I have no idea why it's.
Does
not
no one else
3DS.
find that completely ridiculous?
That's actually really
super
funny.
fun, by the way.
I'm told it's a great throwback to the original Resident Evils. This one comes out tomorrow in North America. It's going to be episodic, and they're releasing an episode every week.
Hard as fuck too. Like, it's a great game to challenge you.
It's one of my favorite DS games for sure.
I have to pick it up. I know. I believe I have the Steam version just sitting there, like most Steam games, not being played.
Happens.
But yeah, I have an interest in this one. Barry Burton's back in it. Go Barry. Whatever happened to that son of a bitch?
Flew up on a helicopter. Yeah, great minds, man.
Also out this week, Dragon Ball Xenoverse on PS4, PS3, Xbox One, 360, and
Dude,
PC.
I watched a trailer for that on accident because my Steam queue was like, "Hey, you should check out this Dragon Ball Xenoverse game we're gonna release." And I'm like, "Wait, how am I 9 again?"
I was literally offered the chance to review that, and I just kind of went, "No."
I like Dragon Ball Abridged. That's my response to that.
DBZ Abridged. Now, if I could get them to dub over the new Dragon Ball game, I would play the hell out of that.
I haven't even heard of DBZ Abridged.
If you don't know what DBZ Abridged is, if you don't watch the cartoon or anything like that, it pretty much sums up all the seasons in like 10 fucking minutes, and it's hilarious.
Okay, so take Dragon Ball Z, get rid of all the filter, also get rid of all the filler, then get rid of all the voice actors and replace it with like 4 drunk dudes.
It's
actually hilarious.
It's phenomenal.
I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah.
Also coming out this week, Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, the expansion kind of to Dynasty Warriors 8. Essentially, they add all the stuff that's in Empires. If you are a fan of Dynasty Warriors, you know what the fuck Empires is. If you're not a fan of Dynasty Warriors, you don't give a goddamn. David, break down what Empires is.
Okay, so the way Dynasty Warriors works is you have a Dynasty Warriors game, and then you have a Dynasty Warrior Extreme Legends game, and then you have like a Dynasty Warriors Ultimate game, and then you have the Empires game, which is more or less the best thing that Dynasty Warriors can do to become Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but they stopped making those and instead make Dynasty Warriors Empires. So for those playing the home game, this is the 3rd Dynasty Warriors 8 game. But it's basically it's a game where you go and crush China, ancient China. You just play as an old Chinese guy, and you beat up the rest of the old Chinese guys.
For people like me, all that says is, cool, we're going to get more Warring Kingdom skins in League of Legends.
much.
Once every 3 years, 4 years, I get the bug to pick up a Dynasty Warriors game, and I picked up Dynasty Warriors 8, and I enjoy going around smashing endless waves of peasants coming at me.
Going on a side tangent here, did you play the Zelda Dynasty Warriors
No,
game?
I never played Hyrule Warriors.
I hear it's good.
Warriors. Yeah, I'm told it's solid. If you like Dynasty Warriors and like Zelda, you'll like Hyrule Warriors. It's not that
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
They know what their audience likes, and they cater directly to it.
I'm pretty sure between like Dynasty Warriors 3 and then Champions of Norath on my old PS2, I destroyed the square button on my controller. I'm fairly positive between those two games that happened. Just
I was about to say,
back.
didn't Champions of Norlath kill your PlayStation 3? But that was
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
no.
Family.
Emular. Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors is fun if you like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah,
Which
well,
I like
Empire's
Dynasty
out
Warriors.
this week. Other games out this week. Not big over in America, but huge in Europe. Rugby 15. This is like the FIFA over there as well. Both of those don't sell too well in America, but do gangbusters overseas. And what I'm most excited for, Homeworld Remastered Collection on the PC. Oh my god, am I excited for this.
I forgot to bring something that I needed to show you, but I actually managed to find, not too long ago, the original technical manual for the old Homeworld games.
I have it.
Like the blue book. I was
Yes,
really excited because I
straight
found it
up, I
in
have
pristine
that.
condition like less than a year ago.
I am so freaking excited for it. I was privileged enough to be able to play Homeworld and Cataclysm and Homeworld 2 when they first came out. Looking forward to the remastered version with Homeworld 1 and 2 on there. Sad story about Cataclysm, though. I thought for the longest time that Homeworld Cataclysm, the reason why it wasn't going to be in this was because of copyright issue. That's apparently not the case. Apparently, the source code to Cataclysm is just forever lost.
Ooh.
What?
The studio that made it was shuffled around a lot and got bought out and changed hands so many times. No one knows where this code's at. It could have been randomly deleted, or it could be on someone's hard drive out in the middle of nowhere. But the source code to Cataclysm does not exist anymore.
There's some dude that just has it
crazy.
framed in his case, just going
Yeah.
good. Good.
It's like locked in a glass box and it can't get out. Like, this will never touch the internet again.
Well, that's like hearing
It's
of a
actually
first
floating in
edition book
space.
getting burned,
It's floating in space in a 2D square, flipping around.
like in the Phantom Zone.
I'm talking about Superman.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
the
that Superman
Phantom
reference.
Zone is where.
Is that what it's
said
called?
that- Yeah.
Whatever, dude. I just fucked up my
Come
own
on,
reference.
man. You're fucking up your nerd cred. Get with it.
Oh,
This is
welcome
about
to Game
games, not
Points,
movies.
where we phone in most things.
But yeah, Cataclysm was actually a fantastic expansion because the beast in that, which was the enemy, was just fucking terrifying. They were kind of like this weird cross between the Borg and the Many from System Shock 2. They would zap you with this virus and fuse you to the machine, and they would like take you over that way.
Yeah, and there was always that. Was it Cataclysm, the second one that had that one random ass ship that would always show with the weird ass music that was just scary?
Yeah, I think that was Cataclysm because you were Cataclysm. You started off as a fucking mining ship, which in itself was boss because this mining ship just couldn't get upgraded and upgraded, and you were just ghetto as hell. But you had this counterpart that got infected with the beast, and the whole game was you were like trying to figure out how to kill your sister ship, and it would follow you around and just appearing like, oh shit, I gotta handle this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Homeworld. I'm going to pick that up. If I can manage to put down Monster Hunter, which I'm still just obsessed with.
Early reports are it is great. Total Biscuit recently tweeted out that it is one of the best remasters he's ever played without breaking embargo, and he's just saying you will see why next week. So that comes out the 25th, I believe, which is what, Thursday, Wednesday?
Yes.
I'm hoping to get review copy of it tonight, but we'll see.
Good luck. I'll come over. I'll drive.
All right, sounds good. We'll make it happen. Moving to some esports stuff. Sean, was
Yeah,
Wicked
the only-
Bench for being too wicked?
No, Wiki Bench for being too terrible.
Oh, Vern.
So this is kind of another big story
So he
about
was wicked lame.
God
All right,
damn
you're
it.
done. You're done.
What, are we like a Fast and Furious movie now? Is that where we're
start singing
going?
Defying Gravity?
Wait, hold on. I got sunglasses around here somewhere.
We needed the Who. Yeah. No. So this is another story of one of the original players of League of Legends, one of the original superstars, kind of fading away, like just falling hard and not really knowing when to step off and having to be benched. Wicked was the top laner for Elements, an EU team.
As a side story, do you guys remember the Sobi elements like rain and fire and water? Those were delicious.
I do.
Go on.
So,
Thank you, Captain Aside.
God damn it. So, Wicket basically was really well known for being on CLG EU in season 2. They're an EU team that actually made it to the semifinals and ended up losing to Frost in the first World Championship of League. Very famous player. He was on the team with Froggen, Crepo, Yellow Pete, and Snoopy. A very famous, like a lot of famous players are on this team. A lot of famous, like 2 of them actually still play. Froggen is still best players in the world, especially in the West. So it's really sad to kind of see him go. But he finally got benched for another old player named Kevin, who came over from SK Gaming. But Wicket was at the height of his career. He's probably one of the best top laners in the world, like all of the world, including Korea and China. So it's really sad to start seeing these older style players kind of fade into the light without kind of going out on top. Like they're being forced out, which it's esports, so I understand it. Like people don't want to retire because they're still young. It's not like a traditional sport where you're old, you need to retire. They're getting forced out because there's better players.
Well, this is one of those things that, I mean, not to knock on esports, but it was a small niche thing. And even if we were really, really, really good at, like, say, League of Legends, doesn't necessarily mean knowing who you were, nor might you have even realized that, hey, I can make money off of this. Now you're starting to have it expand, so you have a bigger talent pool, meaning that the people who were at the top might just be small fish in big ponds now.
True. No, you're absolutely right. And just to go over some numbers this year, he played 4 champions the split so far, and the only one he had a winning record on was Gnar, who's considered probably the most broken top laner in the game right now.
Isn't Gnar that thing you put on your legs to get rid of your hair?
God damn it!
That's
no,
Nair.
It's Nair.
Okay.
Nair.
Oh, was it that game that Cavium made that was the quasi sequel to Dragon Age?
No,
that's Nair.
Okay.
You want to keep playing this game?
Anyways, he only had a winning record on 1 champ on Gnar, and that's, like I said earlier, is considered one of the most broken champs in the game right now. So I would hope he have a winning record on that, and everything else.
Oh, it was that green orb on heavy metal.
I'm done. Like, what the fuck?
I can't take you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even.
Any other esports news?
No.
No one wants to talk to you anymore. We're done with you.
That's the Lochnar, by the way.
God damn it.
Oh.
This week in esports, Steven's a son of a bitch. You heard it first. GamePoints.
So, yeah, I mean, to tie things up here, it is a goddamn shame when someone just realizes they aren't at the top anymore and they're trying to fight so hard to keep from fading into obscurity. The best thing he could probably do, it sounds like, is go out gracefully saying, hey, I had a great run, I'll work on it and come back. And it sounds like he's kind of being a little punk about it.
Well, the team kind of treated him poorly, and they just aren't performing as well as they should be, because they were the top team in Europe last year, and now they're like bottom 4.
Well, the main thing with these guys is that if you go and watch the old League of Legends footage from Season 2, even Season 3, and look at what people are doing now, it's a different game. Like, and I'm even talking about skill level. Like, people are playing at a completely different level.
Well, the meta changes on anything.
Yeah, and then some people can adapt and other people can't. And it's just unfortunate that in this situation he wasn't able to kind of stay on top and adapt with the rest of the crowd. But it's going to happen, and we're going to keep seeing it happen. And it's going to get to the point where we're not even going to see any of the Season 1, Season 2 guys out anymore.
Here's a question I have from someone who doesn't pay much attention to League of Legends. How long is considered a good career?
It's all unknown right now because it's just kind of started.
Because it's just so fucking new.
Apparently 3 years, because we're starting to see finally these first wave of players finally starting to retire and become coaches. So we're starting to see these Season 2, Season 1 vets finally starting to fade away into the dark.
Because you make it till about age 23 in this. So yeah,
it's weird. The older players in League are only like 27 years old, and that is like that's still pretty old. Like Saint Vicious, I believe, is 28.
They're like those people who are playing in the NFL in their 40s.
Yeah, equivalent, but the numbers are way lower since it's all a lot of times it's Twitch reaction.
Yeah,
and while people say your reaction time isn't super affected when you get older, it's still moderately affected.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see once we get 5 and 10 years out from this, the analytics of how long someone is in their prime, what the prime is
Uh,
considered. So that's
to
kind of
the
what
pe-
interests me.
to the people in esports who I actually really like, and I kind of like trying to base my like if I make a career out of it, I'm trying to base my like plans around them is Monte Cristo and Thorn, and they actually started doing they're the first two people calling him to actually do a Hall of Fame, and they started doing this last week, and so like there actually is columnists actually writing like a Hall of Fame, like introducing people into it now. Like it's like their own thing, but we're starting to get columnists actually do this for esports now. And Mad Life was the first person they said who's still playing. Like that's the thing about esports is a long career is 3 years. So like they're putting people still playing in it because it's so relatively new. But like they're finally starting to do stuff like ratings of like all time players and whatnot. Like that discussion's finally happening now.
It is definitely interesting to see this getting off the ground because imagine if they had like all the knowledge of things like Hall of Fames and legacies back when, say, the MLB first started, when Major League Baseball first kicked up. It's like, you know what? We might actually consider doing a Hall of Fame. We might actually consider retiring jerseys and everything like that. Well, we have all this prior knowledge now of professional sports leagues. I find it extremely interesting to see how esports is going to start adopting some of that stuff, and they seem
Well,
to be
that's
really heading to that direction very hard.
in Korea especially. A lot of retired players become coaches for the same organizations they do. Like the organizations take care of their like that's why Korea is so much better than the rest of the world right now when it comes to esports. Because their organizations are actually very structured. They have a lot of like they have coaches, they have sports medicine people living with them. They have sports psychiatrists with them. They
They have
have
sleep
individual
schedules.
like coaches for each lane, workout schedules, sleep schedules, eating habits. Like they actually train like athletes, and that's why they're so much better. It's a habit. It's not just the game. It's living life the way you should as someone who has to focus on one thing. They have practice schedules. They have regiments. They have separate houses for practicing other than where they live, so you don't have work and living in the same place. They have all these crazy things. And since you have these deep organizations, when a player retires, that's like if Man Life retires, that dude's going to have a spot in the organization as a coach because they take care of their own, which is something the West is finally happening. Like they're getting this money to do this. So it's going to be really cool to see this develop into more major stuff.
Someone down in chat by the name of J.S. Williams, I believe that's his name. Unfortunately, it's spelled kind of weird. It's mentioned setting up jobs for retiring players. Is that
Yep.
something that's going on too?
That's what I was talking about. Kind of like when they come out, like they're getting coaching positions, or a lot of them actually go to analyst desks and actually shoutcast for these games. Like Crepo just retired from EG last year, and
At
now
the ripe
he's
age of like 26, I bet.
like 24, if that. And now he's doing like analyst desks for
When I was 24, I
LCS.
was drunk in the floor of my apartment doing something
I'm
lewd.
currently
Dude,
drinking right now.
minor aside, Crepo once told me drunkenly in a Skype call to get my shit together.
Hell yeah, he did.
Yeah,
So
I don't
fucking
support
random.
Window. Yeah.
Yeah, luckily me and David have the benefit of knowing someone who worked for Riot, so we met some cool people.
Yep.
Very
It's fun.
true. I do know that cat you're talking about. Anything else you guys want to add to this conversation before we wrap it up, or do you think that we are finished?
Game to watch of the last week. If you have any games to watch, you want to go back and watch the VODs. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago. I didn't get to bring it up though. Watch LGD and Invictus Gaming in the LPL League. This game is a phenomenal like reference point of watching a great comp versus a team with great strategy. It really shows how a great team, like a team with not the greatest comp, can beat a team with a great comp just through strategy. It's a give and take between the two. It's a really great match if you want to learn basic strategies on how to beat these comps that you might see that are kind of overpowered, how to work around them. So LGD versus Invictus Gaming, LPL. I will link the game on our Facebook page today. So follow us at facebook.com/GamePointsPodcast.
I'm
David,
just going to go
anything
ahead
else
and
you wanna
say, if you're not playing Monster Hunter, you should play Monster Hunter.
Now, David, you need to put that down there. I don't want to get copy striked again. Lower it. Lower it. David. All right. Okay,
He's gonna get bagged and like brought out.
Soon.
This dude dressed up like Mario Brown bags you like Creedy from V for Vendetta. Smacks you over the head with a blackjack and drags you off like in that
I'm not ready for that.
survivalism video.
All right, man. Wrap it up so I can go play my video games.
All right, I'll wrap it up. This has been Game Points. Thank you for watching. If you're in the chat, once again, thank you. We do try to get you in every now and then, though keep in mind, kind of a structured show. I will try to give you a shout out when I can, much like J.S. Williams did at the very end. I am your host, Steven. You can follow me on Twitter at CapitalistPig21. Down there is your esports expert, Sean, at the Disco Teen on Twitter. Across from here is David. You can follow him at PalShife He absolutely won't use Twitter. I made him get that Twitter handle. It's kind of funny. You can follow the show at GamePoints PC on Twitter. We get together every Monday night at 8 p.m. here on Twitch, what you're seeing right now at twitch.tv/GamePoints. You can email